In this video, I'm going to critique the Runescape 3 mobile client, comparing it to the official PC client and weighing up its pros and cons. For anyone new to the Runescape franchise, I'll be explaining how all the games link together and how the mobile clients apply to all of them. I'll then also be pedantically nitpicking and listing any issues I can find with the Runescape 3 mobile client. Now, Jagex, the makers of both Runescape 3 and old school Runescape, have sponsored this video. There is a pre-registration link for the mobile client in the video description, which lets them know you came from this video. However, me accepting the sponsorship was based on two conditions. The first being I'm able to 100% say whatever I like, to be honest and genuine with my thoughts and feelings for the mobile client, for better or for worse, a condition they have agreed to. The second was that they send me a mug. Now, in my last video, I explained my personal love for the game and my connection to RuneScape. For this video, I'll be putting my personal feelings aside and focusing only on the mechanical critique of the Runescape 3 mobile client, so you are able to make an informed choice about whether it's worth downloading or not. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Drivehayes. Recently, I was contacted by Jagex and asked to make two videos on the Runescape 3 mobile client launch. The first would be a personal history of my own involvement with the game of RuneScape and my deep-seated love for it. I've already made that, that's the one you can go and watch now. And this video will be a critique of the mobile client itself. Now, for the benefit of anyone coming to the RuneScape franchise for the first time, I'm going to break down the two different versions of RuneScape that are currently playable and how the mobile client relates to both. In order to make these videos, I asked Jagex for two things. One, the authority to say whatever I wanted in the videos, for better or for worse, which they agreed to, and two, a RuneScape mug. I asked them for this about a week ago, and I am happy to say they have delivered. So with mug in hand, let's review the Runescape 3 mobile client. Before we dive into this video, consider dropping a like or subscribing to the channel for more MMO stuff. Ring the bell so you don't miss a future video. As usual, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters who keep the channel going. More on this at the end. For now, let's begin. First, a super quick explanation of the two versions of RuneScape, just so we aren't confused. The main version of RuneScape, often referred to as Runescape 3, is the most up-to-date live version of the mainline game, featuring the modern additions of more advanced combat, vastly improved graphics, voice-acted quests, more items, more skills, more bosses, and generally a more complex everything. Then you've got old school RuneScape, a version of the game based on a 2007 build that's operated by a separate team within Jagex. Old school follows the older graphical look and gameplay style. This version was based on a 2007 build originally, but has since grown into its own game and followed a new plotline. Essentially, think of them as two timelines within the same franchise. There is no best, they are both very, very good MMOs. Now, one email address will get you an account on both Old School and Runescape 3, but your character on each version will remain on that version. So you'll be able to use one email to log into your Old School character and the same email to log into your Runescape 3 character, but you can't transfer the characters to the other version. Both Runescape 3 and Old School are free to download and start playing. The free world is expansive in both, but if you do decide to purchase the monthly membership on one version, you will also get it on the other, because membership status is linked to your email as a whole, not each individual game. RuneScape membership gives you access to more skills, items, bosses, and quests, but once your membership does run out, you do not lose the ability to play or any items. You simply get placed back into the free world and you can keep leveling the free skills. You can also purchase membership using in-game gold instead of real money, so once you're making decent cash in the game, your membership can sustain itself. There is even a private message cross-game chat between Runescape 3 and Old School. So if you play one version and your friend plays another, you can still chat. RuneScape also doesn't force you to choose a home world or a home server, instead allowing you to hop freely between all worlds at any time. Meaning meeting up with your friends is always possible. You will never be in the situation of, oh, I can't play with you, you're on a different server, because you can just change servers for free whenever, even in the game. There is a world hop menu. Old school RuneScape has had a mobile client out for some time now, and the RuneScape 3 mobile client is releasing for Android and iPhone within a few days. It is important to understand that the mobile client is not a separate game. It is not a standalone mobile experience. It is the full, complete game of RuneScape 3 played on your phone. You will log into the same character as you play on PC. The mobile client connects to the same servers as the PC players. So if you are playing on mobile and I am on PC, we will still be playing together. It is basically cross-platform play between mobile and computer. Basically, I can be playing RuneScape 3 on my PC, leave my PC to catch a train, and continue playing the same character on my phone. The idea of a mobile MMO has been around for a while. You only have to type in MMO to the Google Play Store to see how many games are trying to be the next big thing. The problem is they're always brand new franchises, they're always brand new ideas, and they always put the mobile bit first and forget to make the MMO bit any good. If you've played a mobile MMO specifically built for mobile, there'll be a moment when you sit back and go, this isn't an MMORPG game first. This is a mobile game designed to fleece me out of my money first and be an MMO a distant second. The reason I like RuneScape, both old school and now the RS3 mobile clients so much, is precisely because they aren't mobile MMOs. They are full, proper MMORPG games first that are now playable on your phone. They are not mobile MMOs. They are MMOs that you can play on a mobile. So let's have a look at the RuneScape 3 mobile client, discuss its pros and its cons, and then ask, is it worth the space on your phone? RuneScape 3 on PC is a rather complex MMO featuring a lot of hotbars, a lot of windows, and an excessive amount of customization. You can even revert the game back to the legacy interface mode to match the style of RuneScape 2 from a few years ago, and completely revert the combat system back to legacy mode so you can fight without abilities. All of this customization makes RuneScape very, very easy to set up exactly the way you want it on PC. So for the mobile client, they've had to find a more general approach that gives you enough access to icons and abilities to still be in control without flooding the screen. I think they've done a very good job, and here is how they've done it. The footage I'm showing was recorded on my phone, a roughly 3-year-old Android device. I was running the RuneScape 3 mobile client and the phone's built-in screen recording software at the same time. Any lags in gameplay are due to the recording software, as the game runs buttery smooth on its own. The total install size is 4 GB, so they've managed to condense a lot of RuneScape into a relatively small package. I charged my phone to full and then played solid until the battery died with the screen on maximum brightness, and I disconnected from the Wi-Fi and only used mobile data, making sure to load as many new areas as possible, train as many skills as possible, and visit as many places with high player foot traffic like the Grand Exchange, and here are the numbers that generated. The phone battery lasted way longer than I expected. After 30 minutes of play on mobile data with max brightness, I'd used up 11% of the battery. 4 hours later, it was still going strong. I had to stop playing before the battery died because I had to edit this video. The total data usage for the entire play session was just under 40 megabytes, averaging around 9 megabytes an hour. There is a nice feature where if you're running on mobile data instead of using Wi-Fi, it will automatically stop downloading audio to save on data usage, but you can turn audio back on in the settings. The average RAM usage while running was 243 megabytes, and while my phone certainly got warm, it didn't overheat or become uncomfortable to hold. So mechanically, as an app, it's pretty sound, but how does the game actually play? As with the PC version, it's click to move, single tap to walk, hold tap to perform a right click. Down the right hand side, you've got your main important menus. Your inventory at the top shows everything that you're carrying. The equipped item shows your current setup and its total weight, also gives you access to the equipment stats screen, which can also be accessed via the loadout menu through the hero main menu we'll look at later. For some reason on my phone, this interface doesn't use the complete length of the screen. Might be a phone model specific problem, might be a general app issue. Let me know if this occurs for you too. It's not game breaking, it's just not perfectly optimized yet. The skills menu shows your total skills and stats. Single tapping on any skill brings up the complete list for that skill. Tapping and holding lets you see an XP target for the skill and your current experience in it and the remainder to the next level. The blue book is your magic spellbook for all of your combat or skilling spells, divided into special drop-down menus. You can manually cast a spell by tapping or tapping and hold to select auto cast during combat, provided you have the right weapon equipped and runes on you. The purple book is your prayers or curses. Simply tap to activate one of them, or will use the Quick Prayer Setup menu to create a situation-specific quick prayer selection, activating many of them with a single tap. The green book is your combat abilities, showing all your skills in attack, strength, defense, ranged, magic, and constitution. You can activate abilities from here or add them to a revolution hotbar or the combat hot buttons. We'll look more into combat later on. The bag icon with the down pointing arrow is a drop list of all drops by recently killed monsters. The 4 square icon in the middle of this menu opens the area loot window, making picking up stuff after killing a lot of things much easier. The minimap is, in a strange touch, placed in the bottom right. Movement via the minimap is great though, tap to go somewhere. The globe with the magnifying glass is the world map and the search function. And the world map is fine for navigation, but there is an issue with tapping on quest start icons. If you do tap on a quest icon on the map, the quest tooltip is meant to pop up, and it does, but often just off screen. And moving the map to view it removes the window. Now this isn't a game-breaking bug, but it is super annoying when you're trying to find quest requirements. The same issue happens when you click on resource spots like mining locations. The pop-up isn't centered, and this needs to be fixed. Back on the main game, pressing the minus button to the top right of the map simply closes it. Center bottom, you've got your health and adrenaline meters. The purple orb are your current prayer points, and the teal orb are your summoning points. For the first few weeks of playing the beta, I focused on the skilling aspect, which the client absolutely excels at. Fishing, woodcutting, mining, smithing, runecrafting, anything slightly slower paced and more relaxing was brilliant. I could sit and watch TV while also grinding out some firemaking or cooking or fletching. So if you're a pure skiller, the mobile client is an absolute no-brainer. Get this. But how does it handle combat? On RuneScape 3, there are 3 combat modes. Full Manual, which requires you to click every ability as you want to use it. Revolution, which lets you set up a string of abilities and have them be used when available, essentially creating a priority system, while also allowing you to override and manually choose the next input if you like. And Legacy Combat, which removes all the abilities and returns to click and wait style of old school. The RuneScape 3 mobile client supports all of these modes. You can pop into the settings menu and turn Legacy on if you want, but for now I'm going to look at how Revolution works, setting up your own priority system. With Revolution mode on, tapping the small icon gear to the bottom left opens your hot button and Revolution bar setup. On the left, you can click and drag any ability from your ability book and place it onto the Revolution bar along the bottom. When you're in combat, the ability closest to the left will then be activated. If it's not available or on cooldown, it will activate the next one, and then the next one, and so on until the end, effectively setting up a priority string of abilities you want to happen in the right order. As standard, you can have 13 different Revolution bars and one of them active at any time. Along with having a Revolution bar that will automatically cycle through, you can also have a Revolution bar available for manual activation all the time. This bar will be mapped to the hot buttons. For example, if I set up bar 1 to be dual-wielding abilities and bar 10 to be prayers and healing abilities, and then I set bar 1 as my automatic revolution bar and bar 10 as my manual available hot button bar, I know that my combat abilities will always cycle while I still have access to the healing as I need it. Here's the example. I've got my dual-wielding revolution bar set up to automatically cycle, so I know my abilities will trigger, and I've got my prayer and healing bar assigned to manual keys, so I'm ready in case something unexpected happens. Back in the game, tapping the sword and shield icon to the bottom left opens your hot buttons to the left and right hand side of the screen and shows the current revolution bar at the bottom center. Tapping and holding on the revolution bar lets you change it to another. Tapping the number 1 on the bottom left just above the sword and shield lets you change the bar assigned to the hot buttons. It sounds complex, and it kind of is when you start. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it means there is a load of customization available to find your own fighting style, and once you've got them set up, you can switch between them in-game with very little hassle, even in combat. And remember, any manually tapped ability will always take priority over the revolution cycle. Combat on mobile is absolutely possible, and while it does take some getting used to over the PC client, it's actually not that much more click intensive. With the revolution bar system and the manual hot button system, and your inventory only a single tap away from the side of the screen, you've actually got everything you need accessible to take on some harder fights. My one complaint here though is opening your inventory overrides the hot button selection on the right. They reappear when you close your inventory, but I want access to my inventory and all the hot buttons together. Just make the inventory scroll. So skilling on mobile is great, and combat has been acceptably ported over, with the Revolution system absolutely working with the mobile interface really well, and the ability to customize 13 bars and have them assigned to automatic or manual activation is great. The only issue is the inventory overlay on the right hand side. To the top left, you've got the home icon, which lets you access all your cosmetic overrides, the wardrobe, the achievement menu, or the adventure menu, which is your list of daily challenges or available mini-games complete with teleports to them. It's no different from the main game, just the menus have been condensed down for a mobile screen. So yeah, on the whole, a pretty positive app, a pretty damn good client. Remember, this video isn't necessarily a critique of the entire game or the entire company, I'm just looking at the mobile app specifically. And the mobile app is pretty damn good. Now, it's not without its issues, and I was able to find a few. So let's have a look at some areas they need to improve. Some menus have a red X in the top right you need to tap to exit, and it's either my phone or the game, but sometimes those little red X's just do not want to be tapped, and leaving a menu takes a few seconds longer than it should. I've already mentioned the minimap icon pop-up spacing issue, where it doesn't appear in the center of your screen, just wanted to mention it again, so Jagex definitely do fix this. Sometimes you'll equip a rather random selection of items, and then apply a load of random cosmetic overrides, and then cancel all the overrides together, and this happens. No idea what this is, but it happened. Strangely, I couldn't recreate it. I tried for a while, but no, I do not know how I made this happen. And possibly the most annoying issue, not game-breaking, just irritating, when typing in the bank search bar, you can add letters as you'd expect, but when you delete letters, it doesn't delete them from the search bar as you go. Once you start typing again, however, it quickly catches up with itself and searches for the right thing. Banking in general might actually need a bit of a look at, because Adamant Plate Legs and Adamant Plate Legs Plus 2 look identical, and on PC you can hover the cursor over to see what they are, but on mobile you have to click and hold to get the name of every item. Maybe add a small +1 or +2 to the item icon to make banking on mobile less time consuming. So, overall critique of the RuneScape 3 mobile client, it's a solid app. It's fantastic for skilling and doing less intense things like woodcutting, fishing, mining, making summoning pouches. It's absolutely passable for doing the more intense things like clan wars, god wars, high-level bossing, provided you set your Revolution combat bars up or you are very, very good at manual combat. It's basically RuneScape 3 with a mobile-friendly UI. There are, of course, issues, and I've pointed them out in the hopes that Jagex will take my feedback and fix them. Clicking the map icons and having the little map tooltip pop up appear off screen, that's not great and needs to be changed. Maybe reassess the banking interface to make sure that you can click items quicker and see at a glance what everything is without having to examine it. Maybe have a look at a couple of the graphical issues that are caused whenever you apply cosmetic overrides and then remove them and get some weird graphical glitches going on. But in general, yeah, a really solid, genuinely good MMORPG game, playable on mobile. It's one of the world's biggest and most successful MMOs, playable for free on your phone. Thank you for watching. Another big thank you to Jagex for sponsoring the video, and to you guys who support on Patreon and Twitch. I will just keep reducing the size of the Patreon font until it becomes stupid. Check the video description for links to download the RuneScape 3 mobile client, support the Patreon, or follow on Twitch and Twitter. As always, have a great day.